Emmanuel clutched his single suitcase, his heart thrumming with a mix of trepidation and exhilaration. He was leaving behind the familiar sights, sounds and smells of Cameroon, his homeland, for the promised land, America. New York City, the concrete jungle awaited, a stark contrast to the lush greenery he was leaving behind. But he carried in his heart a fervent hope, a burning ambition to carve a better life for himself and his family. He dreamt of opportunities, of success, of a future free from the constraints of his small village. America, he believed, held the key to unlocking his dreams. The journey was long and arduous, filled with the bittersweet pangs of leaving loved ones behind. But Emmanuel clung to his dreams, each mile drawing him closer to his imagined future. He had heard tales of hardship, of the struggles immigrants faced in the land of opportunity. Yet he remained undeterred, his resolve hardened by the challenges that lay ahead. He was ready to work hard, to persevere, to prove his mettle in this new land. America, he believed, rewarded the tenacious, the determined, the dreamers. The initial days in Brooklyn were a blur of activity, a whirlwind of unfamiliar sights and sounds. The towering buildings seemed to scrape the sky, dwarfing the humble abodes of his village. The cacophony of city life, the incessant honking of cars, the rumble of the subway, was a far cry from the gentle rhythms of his homeland. The bustling streets were filled with people from all walks of life, each seemingly in a hurry to get somewhere. The sheer volume of humanity was overwhelming yet fascinating. Emmanuel often found himself lost in the crowd, a small fish in a vast ocean. The skyscrapers, with their gleaming facades, stood as monuments to human ambition and resilience. They were a stark contrast to the simple, earthy structures of his village, where life moved at a slower, more deliberate pace. The noise was relentless, a constant backdrop to his daily life. The honking of cars, the clatter of the subway, the chatter of countless conversations. It was a symphony of chaos that he was slowly learning to navigate. Yet, amidst the chaos, Emmanuel found a strange comfort in the city's energy, its pulsating heartbeat. It was as if the city itself was alive, a living, breathing entity that embraced him in its relentless embrace. He found a cramped room in a shared apartment, a far cry from the spacious home he shared with his extended family back in Cameroon. The room was small, but it was his own little corner of the world, a place where he could dream and plan for the future. He took up a job at a local diner, washing dishes, mopping floors, performing menial tasks with a quiet dignity. The work was hard, but it was honest, and it gave him a sense of purpose. The hours were long, the pay meager, but Emmanuel toiled tirelessly, sending a portion of his earnings back home, his heart swelling with a quiet pride. Each dollar he sent was a testament to his hard work and determination. The city, he soon realized, was a melting pot of cultures, a tapestry woven with threads from every corner of the globe. He encountered people from all walks of life, each with their own unique stories and experiences. The vibrant street markets, the colorful murals, the diverse array of food and music. It was a sensory overload that he came to cherish. It was a reminder that, despite the challenges, there was beauty and diversity to be found in every corner of the city. He encountered fellow immigrants, each with their own stories of hope and struggle, their dreams echoing his own. They shared meals, stories, and laughter, finding solace in their shared experiences. He found solace in their shared experiences, in the camaraderie that blossomed amidst their common challenges. These friendships became his support system, a network of people who understood his journey. Life in Brooklyn was a far cry from the idyllic existence he had envisioned. The reality was harsh, but it was also filled with moments of unexpected joy and connection. Yet he was determined to make it, to build a life of dignity and respect, brick by gritty brick. With each passing day, he grew more resilient, more determined to carve out a place for himself in this vast, bustling city. One evening, as Emmanuel trudged home from work, weary and disheartened, he encountered Marcus. A charismatic figure with an easy smile and a charming demeanor, Marcus exuded an aura of success that drew Emmanuel in. He spoke of opportunities, of a chance to earn quick money, to climb the ladder of success faster than Emmanuel could have ever imagined. He proposed that Emmanuel join his team, help him organize a series of concerts featuring up-and-coming artists from Africa. Emmanuel, initially hesitant, found himself drawn to Marcus's promises. The prospect of escaping the drudgery of his daily grind, of earning enough to finally support his family comfortably, was too tempting to resist. Marcus seemed to offer a shortcut, a way to expedite his American dream. He spoke of empowering fellow immigrants, of showcasing African talent to the world, his words resonating with Emmanuel's own desire to make a difference. Yet, a nagging doubt lingered in the back of Emmanuel's mind. Marcus, despite his charm, seemed shrouded in an air of secrecy, his words too smooth, his promises too grand. He spoke vaguely of the concert details, evading Emmanuel's probing questions with practiced ease. The money, he claimed, was secondary, a mere byproduct of their shared passion for promoting African music. But something about his demeanor, his carefully constructed facade, set Emmanuel on edge. The weeks leading up to the first concert were a whirlwind of activity. The city buzzed with anticipation, and the streets were alive with the energy of countless hands working tirelessly to bring the event to life. Emmanuel found himself thrust into a world vastly different from his own. He helped distribute flyers, set up the stage, and manage logistics, tasks that were both physically demanding and mentally exhausting. Each day brought new challenges, from coordinating with vendors to ensuring the sound system was flawless. His days were consumed by the upcoming event, leaving him little time to reflect on the path he had chosen. The pressure was immense, and the weight of responsibility often felt overwhelming. The venue was a far cry from the grand concert halls he had envisioned. Instead of opulent decor and state-of-the-art facilities, he was met with a dilapidated warehouse that seemed to echo with the ghosts of its industrial past. It was a dingy warehouse, its walls stained with years of neglect, and its floors covered in a layer of grime that seemed impossible to clean. Tucked away in a desolate part of town, the location was far from ideal. The surrounding streets were eerily quiet, a stark contrast to the bustling city center. Its grimy exterior did little to inspire confidence, and Emmanuel couldn't help but feel a pang of doubt every time he approached the building. The crowds that flocked to the concerts were not the discerning music enthusiasts Emmanuel had expected. Instead, they were a mix of individuals drawn by the promise of a night of escape. They were a motley crew, their appearances as varied as their backgrounds. Some looked like they had seen better days, while others carried an air of defiance. Their faces were etched with a hardness that spoke of a life lived on the fringes, each line and wrinkle telling a story of survival. They came for the cheap alcohol, the pulsating music, and the chance to lose themselves in the crowd, if only for a few hours. The escape from their own grim realities was a powerful draw, and the concert provided a temporary refuge from the harshness of their everyday lives. Emmanuel, observing them from the sidelines, felt a growing sense of unease. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The more he watched, the more he noticed the subtle signs of a world he didn't fully understand. The money, he noticed, changed hands with a furtive urgency, the transactions shrouded in secrecy and conducted with a practiced efficiency. The transactions shrouded in secrecy, each exchange a brief, almost imperceptible moment in the chaos of the crowd. He tried to push down his doubts, to convince himself that his suspicions were unfounded. After all, he had come this far, and turning back now seemed impossible. He clung to Marcus's words, to his promises of a better future. The vision of success that Marcus painted was alluring, a beacon of hope in the murky waters of his current reality. But the more time he spent with Marcus and his associates, the more he realized that something was amiss. The cracks in the facade were becoming harder to ignore. Their conversations were peppered with coded language, phrases that seemed innocuous on the surface but hinted at deeper, hidden meanings. But the more time he spent with Marcus and his associates, the more he realized that something was amiss. The more he realized that something was amiss. Their conversations were peppered with coded language, their laughter devoid of genuine mirth. Their conversations were peppered with coded language, their laughter devoid of genuine mirth. Their laughter devoid of genuine mirth. They moved with a practiced ease that hinted at a hidden world, their eyes constantly scanning their surroundings. They moved with a practiced ease that hinted at a hidden world, their eyes constantly scanning their surroundings, their hands never straying far from their pockets. Their eyes constantly scanning their surroundings, their hands never straying far from their pockets. Their hands never straying far from their pockets. Emmanuel couldn't help but wonder what secrets they were hiding and whether he had made a grave mistake in getting involved. The realization hit Emmanuel like a ton of bricks. He had always been cautious, always tried to stay on the right path, but now he found himself in a situation that was spiraling out of control. He was in over his head, entangled in a web of deceit far more intricate and dangerous than he could have ever imagined. The more he tried to understand, the more convoluted it became, like a labyrinth with no exit. The concerts, he discovered, were not about promoting African music. They were elaborate performances, yes, but their true purpose was far more sinister. They were a front, a clever ruse to mask a money laundering operation, a way to funnel vast amounts of illicit cash through seemingly legitimate channels, a way to cleanse dirty money earned through illicit means. The scale of the operation was staggering, and the more he learned, the more he realized how deep the corruption ran. The crowds, the music, the energy, it was all a carefully orchestrated facade, a way to blend in, to operate in plain sight. The very things that drew people in were the same things that kept the operation hidden, a way to blend in, to operate in plain sight. Fear gnawed at Emmanuel's insides. He felt like a small fish in a vast, dark ocean surrounded by predators. He had stumbled into a world he didn't understand, a world governed by its own set of rules, its own code of silence. Every step he took felt like it could be his last. A world governed by its own set of rules, its own code of silence. He had seen enough movies, heard enough stories to know that those who crossed Marcus didn't live to tell the tale. He had seen enough movies, heard enough stories to know that those who crossed Marcus didn't live to tell the tale. The stories were always the same: betrayal, violence, and a swift, brutal end. He was trapped, his life entangled with a group of ruthless criminals who wouldn't hesitate to silence anyone who threatened their operation. The guilt of his complicity weighed heavily on his conscience. The guilt of his complicity weighed heavily on his conscience. He had come to America with dreams of a better life, of earning an honest living. He had come to America with dreams of a better life, of earning an honest living. He had vowed to make his family proud, to uphold the values of integrity and hard work instilled in him since childhood, of earning an honest living. He had vowed to make his family proud, to uphold the values of integrity and hard work instilled in him since childhood. Yet here he was, a pawn in a criminal enterprise. He had vowed to make his family proud, to uphold the values of integrity and hard work instilled in him since childhood. Yet here he was, a pawn in a criminal enterprise, his hands stained, albeit indirectly, with the taint of ill-gotten gains. To uphold the values of integrity and hard work instilled in him since childhood. Yet here he was, a pawn in a criminal enterprise, his hands stained, albeit indirectly, with the taint of ill-gotten gains. His dreams, once so vivid, now seemed tarnished. Yet here he was, a pawn in a criminal enterprise, his hands stained, albeit indirectly, with the taint of ill-gotten gains. His dreams, once so vivid, now seemed tarnished, his aspirations replaced by a gnawing fear for his safety, his very life. His hands stained, albeit indirectly, with the taint of ill-gotten gains. His dreams, once so vivid, now seemed tarnished, his aspirations replaced by a gnawing fear for his safety, his very life. He wondered if he would ever find a way out, or if he was doomed to remain trapped in this web forever. His dreams, once so vivid, now seemed tarnished, his aspirations replaced by a gnawing fear for his safety, his very life. He wondered if he would ever find a way out, or if he was doomed to remain trapped in this web forever. The weight of his choices pressed down on him, a constant reminder of the perilous path he had unwittingly taken. His aspirations replaced by a gnawing fear for his safety, his very life. He wondered if he would ever find a way out, or if he was doomed to remain trapped in this web forever. The weight of his choices pressed down on him, a constant reminder of the perilous path he had unwittingly taken. Emmanuel knew he had to find a way to break free, but the question was, how?